Hi, everybody. It's Mrs. Measzros. I sure do miss working with you at El Sol. I thought I would teach you today how to make a very special chocolate cake. This is called WACKY cake. It doesn't use any milk or eggs, but the way that it rises in the pan is by using baking soda and vinegar. And when these two ingredients interact, it makes the mixture rise to make a cake. So let's get started. I have all of my ingredients here. I'm using a medium-sized pan. This is a small cake, so we don't have as many things to put in. We're going to start with flour, and I'm going to be putting in 1.5 cups of flour. So here's cup 1, and here is a 1/2 cup. All right, so there is our flour. Our second ingredient is our sugar. So I have my sugar here, and I'll be putting 1 cup of sugar into my bowl. So here's my measuring cup, and there's my 1 cup of sugar. I like to put my ingredients off to the side after I use them, just to remind myself I already used them. Now the next thing I'm going to put in is a little salt. So I have my teaspoons and my measuring spoons here, and I'm going to use a 1/2 teaspoon, which I can dip into my salt shaker, and I'm going to put my salt in right now. Next, we need to put in a teaspoon of baking soda. It is not baking powder, it is baking soda. 1 teaspoon. And this is what my baking soda looks like. All right. Now the next thing I need for a chocolate cake is I need cocoa. This is baking cocoa, not the kind we make hot chocolate with, but the kind that we put in baking. So I will be using 3 tablespoons of cocoa. 1, 2, and 3. All right. Now those are all the dry ingredients that I need for my cake. So I'm taking a whisk. I like to use a whisk to mix it all together in the pan. So as you can see, I'm mixing it all together, and because of the cocoa, all of these ingredients are going to turn kind of a tan color. And I want it very well mixed so there's no chunks of anything in there. Get it nice and whisked up. All right, and now you can see my mixture. Now we're going to put in our liquid ingredients. Here comes the interesting part. I'm going to have us put in 1 tablespoon of vinegar, and I'm using apple cider vinegar. I've made this cake so many years. It's a recipe called WACKY cake from I think it was from a Betty Crocker cookbook many, many years ago. And I've tried it with many different kinds of vinegar, and mostly they work. So if it's red wine vinegar, or I've even used rice vinegar before, I do like the apple cider vinegar for this. And it's a very kind of a cheap, easy to get vinegar. So you don't need anything fancy. 1 tablespoon vinegar. We're going to put 6 tablespoons of oil. And I just am using a canola blend oil. You can use canola or just vegetable oil. Works really good. I do not recommend anything like olive oil. That oil is too heavy. Let's count these together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, Stace. All right, so there's my oil. And now we're going to use vanilla. Vanilla is something we commonly put in baked goods. This is 1 teaspoon of vanilla. 1 teaspoon. There it is. Okay, now that those ingredients are in there, I need to take my cup and I need to fill it with cold water. So I'm going to my sink, make sure the water is cold. And I'm going to put a whole cup of cold water over the top of my mixture. So there we go. All right. And I'm going to use my whisk again, and I'm going to mix everything together with the whisk. This makes a delicious batter. I have to say I love cake batter and cookie dough, and I love to eat it just before it even gets cooked. So good. But make sure you wash your hands if you're dipping your fingers in there. Or wait till after you put it in the bowl and lick out the bowl. All right, we are whisking it all together. We don't want to over-mix it. If we mix it too much, it actually makes the cake a little bit tough. It's not as tender and light. And I have it all mixed nicely together, and you can see that it looks like a very nice cake batter. Okay, I have my pan here. You want to use an 8 by 8 square pan. You don't actually have to oil it first, which is interesting. And I'm going to use a scraper. I have one of these scrapers here that I'm going to scrape my batter into the pan. Now this whole time I've had my oven set to 375 degrees. So it's already ready to have my cake go in. It's nice and hot and it's ready. Okay, I have scraped it all in, and I'm just smoothing it out, putting it into the corners, and so I have it nice and spread. And now my cake is ready to go in the oven. This has to cook for 25 minutes, and you need to set your timer on your oven. So I have a cook time, and I'm setting my timer for 25 minutes. All right, and then I'm clicking that, and when that timer goes off, my cake is going to be ready. All right, I made a cake earlier. It did a little indent in the middle, but it's all ready, and I wanted to show you what it will look like at the end. So I made that earlier today, and I made some chocolate frosting. I use margarine, usually a soy margarine, and vanilla, milk, and powdered sugar. And I have that frosting right here. I don't really measure, I just throw things in. And then I use a mixer, a hand mixer, to mix everything up nice. So I'm frosting my cake now. And I do love chocolate frosting. Chocolate frosting is so good on this chocolate cake. So I'm just going to show you when this is done, and that'll be that. And I hope that you will try this cake because it is easy to make, delicious, and it doesn't use any animal ingredients. It's a vegan cake that tastes exactly like a regular chocolate cake. In fact, I like it better than most cakes. It's very moist and very chocolatey. All right, so I'm almost done frosting my cake. And I will give you the recipe. I will make sure that you get that in writing so that you can follow it. I tried to put it on my screen, but something went wrong, so I just decided to not do that. So now I have a nicely frosted cake ready to cut and eat for a celebration or just for dessert one night. All right, I hope you enjoyed my demonstration. It was great to be with you, and happy baking. Bye-bye, everyone.